My name is Rachel Dixon and I'm a Year 6 teacher at Ripple Primary School, and this is my lesson on light. We've done a little bit on this so far, okay? Our last lesson, what did we do in our last lesson? What was all that about? Some mucking about with a bit of ribbon, a few objects. What was all that about? Adria?
Our last lesson we done was about how light reflects through our object and comes into our pupil so we can see.
That's a really good explanation. The objective of this lesson is to help children understand that light travels in a straight line and to know that light can be reflected from an object onto a mirror and then reflected back into our eyes. So we talked about light travelling in a bendy line?
No.
A zigzag line?
No.
Straight line?
Yes.
Okay, can you show me a straight line with your arms? Okay, this is how it was travelling, okay? Once we have done the recap at the start of the lesson, we move into playing with mirrors. We hand out the mirrors and we ask children, can you see behind you using the mirror? Can you see round corners using the mirror? How do you think this happens? And then we ask them if they can actually use the whiteboard and pen to draw or represent a diagram to show how they think they can actually see behind them.
Shall we draw the torch first, the source of light? Alright?
This
In the street, who would carry a torch?
We don't correct their work on the whiteboards at this stage because I want to identify what they understand. What do they know already? There's no point teaching something to children if they know something already. And if they don't know, then you can see where the misconceptions lie and you know what needs to be addressed in the lesson. What we're going to do now, because our classroom, we've got a lot of tables in here, a lot of chairs, we're going to go into the hall. We're going to get into our groups in the hall, okay? And you're going to have a go at trying to make a model of what is going on. I use modelling in lessons a lot, in science, literacy, maths, all sorts of lessons. We feel that children really gain a lot from this experience. So what we're going to do is we are going to set up our model, okay? So I need a light source, okay? Remon looking particularly fine this morning. Come and be our light source, okay? Can you stand and be our light source, right? I show them how to set up the experiment where they are getting the light travelling from the torch to the object, reflecting to the mirror and then reflecting the light into their eye. They need to see a model to start with, otherwise they will find it really, really difficult to represent this themselves. We've got 4 or 3 people in our groups, okay, and you're going to need to try and see your teddy bear in the mirror.
You have to look like this. Put your foot like this.
Using a ribbon clearly isn't a perfect reconstruction for light. As ribbon bends, it will go around a corner, and light can't. So why use a ribbon? We could use something like spaghetti. It doesn't actually bend around the corner. But actually, the discussions that come out of these are incredibly helpful. That ribbon is bending. Do you think it should be? Oh, no, it shouldn't be bending. So what do you need to do? Oh, I've got to pull it tight. And actually having all these conversations, the model helps us to address children's misconceptions as well as to embed the aim of the lesson. It's really important that children then try to explain what is happening in their model using scientific language. Our light source.
Our light source
Travels in a straight line.
travels in a straight line
To the object.
to the object.
To help them with their learning, we use actions mixed with words. This really helps embed the scientific concepts. When we put actions to words, I can then actually use these to prompt them later with their thinking. So I can give them the action only, for example, and 9 times out of 10, they will actually give you the scientific language back. Now, some of you snuck whiteboard pins in here and started changing your boards as you were going along. And I suspect that might be because you actually thought, oh, hang on a minute, I think I might have missed something out on my diagram. Because we've got the light travelling in a straight line to the object, which reflects in a straight line to the mirror, which reflects the light in a straight line to our eye. So we need quite a few objects on our page, okay? And I'm going to ask you to write down an explanation of what's happening. You can write it in a sentence, or you can do a diagram. It's up to you. When asking the children, do you find this kind of learning helpful? A child will actually turn around and say to us, oh yeah, actually doing it rather than just seeing a picture of it. It really helps us to remember and understand what is happening when we're moving physically the objects ourselves.